Season 3, Episode 26, Banani's Father. Three scientists, Papaia, Banani, and Ravioli, and their assistant Igor, who work at NASA, begin to take an interest in creationism. Alarmed, their superiors send them to see a psychologist, Professor Fagioli, shady character determined to get them fired by making them seem insane. We're in Professor Fagioli's office, and it's Banani's turn. Fagioli, the figure of your father seems very important in your adolescence. Did you spend a lot of time with him? Banani, my father was a handyman, and he fixed things. Sometimes he had free time, and we'd go fishing together. Fagioli, sorry, one question. Can I ask if you like fish? Banani, yes, fish is tasty and good for your health. It's my favorite food. Fagioli, admiringly, very good, Banani, correct answer. Your attitude toward fish is the right one. Banani, but once my father at the river called me over and showed me a gun he had. Fagioli, a gun? Flashback exterior late afternoon. Deserted river, cloudy sky. Banani, 12 years old, gets out of the passenger seat. His father is already outside opening the car's trunk. Father, come on, I have a surprise for you. Banani, a surprise? What kind of surprise? Father, something every man should know. Trust me. The father pulls a black bag from the trunk. Banani follows him along the dirt path leading to the river. The two stop on a muddy, isolated riverbank. Father, this is good. The father kneels down, opens the bag, and pulls out a gun wrapped in a black velvet cloth. Banani's eyes widen. Banani, a gun? But you have a gun? Father, yes, I don't carry it around to look tough. But in life, you have to be ready for anything. Banani, like being attacked by a bear. Father, like protecting you and your mother if necessary. He looks at Banani. I'm not telling you that you need to have a gun too, but at least you should know how to use one. The father stands up, grabs a handful of empty cans from a plastic bag, and arranges them on a log about 10 meters away. Father, watch carefully. He raises the gun, aims, and bang! First can hit squarely, then another, and another. Banani. Wow. Father, now it's your turn. He carefully hands Banani the gun. Banani takes it awkwardly. Father, feet steady. Breathe, don't rush. Aim calmly. Banani aims. He shoots. The shot barely misses the target. Banani grimaces. Father, not bad. Try again. After a few tries, a can falls. Banani lights up. The father smiles with pride. Father, good. See? Calm. Concentration. Confidence. Silence. Just the sound of the river. The father looks at the horizon, then speaks in a lower tone. Father, Banani, in life you never know what's coming. But if you keep a cool head and do a little preparation, you can usually handle it. Banani, will you give me my own gun? Father, smiling. No, but one day you might want to learn for real. And if that happens, I want you to remember this afternoon. Banani nods, serious. The father passes him a cookie from his pocket. Father, now, no more shooting. It's time for river snacks. The two sit on the log, looking at the fallen cans. Banani, yes, I was surprised too. I didn't think he'd have one. Fagioli, terrified. And he gave you a gun? You're not armed right now, are you? Banani, no sir. Fagioli, relieved. You really admired your father, didn't you? Banani, yes, and even today I want to follow his example. Igor, Banani, with a gun in his hand? Take cover. The shot could bounce from the past and end up in his feet. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Season 3, Episode 27. Banani's Incident. Three scientists, Papaia, Banani, and Ravioli, and their assistant Igor, who work at NASA, begin to take an interest in creationism. Alarmed, their superiors send them to see a psychologist, Professor Fagioli, a shady character determined to get them fired by making them seem insane. We're in Professor Fagioli's office, and it's Banani's turn. Fagioli, here in your file, there's an interesting detail. You're partially deaf in one ear. Banani, turning around. Huh? Fagioli, louder. I said, Are you deaf in one ear? Banani. Ah, sorry, I just bent over to check if my shoes were untied. Yeah, I can't hear out of this ear. It's a long story. Fagioli. Taking notes. We have time. Tell me everything from the beginning. How did it happen? Banani becomes serious for a moment, his gaze lost in a distant point on the ceiling. Banani. It happened when I was 12. It was a night like any other, but I couldn't sleep. Flashback. Interior afternoon. Banani's house garage. A light bulb hangs from the ceiling, casting a flickering cone of light. Banani, in his pajamas, pushes the garage door open. Behind him, Henry follows, yawning. Henry. Did you fix the Commodore 64? Banani. I've got something better here. But you have to keep your mouth shut. Henry. Okay. What is it, another one of your experiments? Banani approaches his father's metal cabinet, which is left open. With cautious reverence, he opens the door. Inside, wrapped in a black cloth, is the gun. Henry. Is it real? Banani. Yeah, my dad left it here. He didn't even take it apart. But don't worry, I know how it works. Henry. Banani, I don't know if this is a good idea. Banani. Just one shot, just one can. Then I'll put it back exactly where it was. You just watch. Banani sets up 3 cans on an overturned shelf. Then he grabs the gun and aims, awkwardly mimicking the position he's seen in movies. Banani. I'll shoot the target. It's just like the river, only inside. And with the parquet in the living room. Henry. Banani, this is a really bad id-bang. The shot explodes. The echo reverberates through the entire garage like thunder in a box. Banani falls to the ground, his hands on his ears. Henry screams pales, then. Henry. Stepping back toward the door. I'm leaving. I think I left the gas on. Henry runs off as always. Banani stays sitting on the floor, his face contorted. Banani. Narrating. One ear stopped working. The other one was ringing, loudly, for 3 days. Cut interior waiting room of the emergency room. Banani's parents are speaking animatedly with a doctor. Banani sits between them, with a dazed and muffled expression. Banani. Narrating. My parents took me straight to the ER. Then to specialists. 5 in total. But the diagnosis was always the same. Permanent damage. Back to present Professor Fagioli's office. Banani looks at the floor, gently rubbing his right ear with his fingertips. Banani. And since that day, I can't hear out of this side. That's also why sometimes I answer the wrong questions. Fagioli, I understand. And your parents? How did they react? Igor, they shot him. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Season 3, Episode 28, Banani's Mother. 3 scientists. Papaia, Banani, and Ravioli and their assistant Igor, who work at Nasal, start getting interested in creationism. Their superiors, wordsheet, send them to see a psychologist. Professor Fagioli, a shady character who is determined to get them fired by making them look insane. We're in Professor Fagioli's office. It's Banani's turn. Fagioli. Tell me about your mother. Banani. I'd say my mother was into crafting. Fagioli. Yes, but I'd like to hear something about your mother-son relationship. Banani. Let's say our mother-son relationship was based on crafting. Fagioli. You build containers together. Banani. Well, more like in parallel. Fagioli. What do you mean? Banani. You see, Professor, while I was building explosive stuff in the garage, she was in the kitchen making super complicated dishes using tools she made herself. One time she baked bread inside a recycled wooden box, using only the sun. Fagioli. Interesting. He jots something down. Fagioli. And she didn't get mad at you. I mean, for the experiments? Banani. Absolutely not. And that's just how she was. Calm, always smiling, but always lost in her world of hot glue and chia seeds. Igor. So Banani's mother-son bond was based on crafting? Sure, and when she got mad, she probably glued him to door with hot glue. Banani says they crafted in parallel. So if something went wrong on her end, the worst was a burnt roast. But on Banani's end, blowing up the whole building? Wait a second. Can someone explain how you bake bread in a wooden box under the sun? Banani probably set it on fire. Banani's mom lived in a world made of chia seeds. The only problem with that world was rivers and oceans. How funny. SaveBlog.com. Examples of separation between rock layers. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are talking about a book Banani found on the geological evidence of Noah's flood. Ravioli, does the book give any examples? Papaia, here we go. The Grand Canyon in the southwestern United States offers numerous examples of boundaries between rock layers that are consistent with deposition during the flood described in Genesis. Ravioli, that's a lot. Papaia, the book lists 4 examples which are said to represent all the others. Ravioli, these boundaries are found at the base of the Tapeats sandstone, the Redwall limestone, the Hermit Formation, and the Coconino sandstone. Igor, after the stuff Ravioli blurted out with Fagioli, the only thing getting reviewed around here will be our entrance badges. How funny. SavedBlog.com. The living room volcano. We're back in Fagioli's office. Fagioli, you said your mother didn't worry, but was more into culinary crafts. Banani, yeah, she didn't care if the house exploded as long as the kitchen stayed intact. Fagioli, can you tell me about a typical incident? Flashback. Interior Banani's living room afternoon. The floor is covered in newspaper. In the center stands a half-meter tall papier-mâché volcano, painted red and black. 10-year-old Banani wears swim goggles and oven mitts. Next to him, his loyal friend Henry watches nervously. Banani, okay. Based on my calculations, with a bit of bleach, the lava effect will look way more realistic. Henry, Banani, your volcano is perfect, but I'm not so sure about the bleach part. Banani, trust me, it's strong, but I've got it all under control. Now pass me the industrial vinegar. Henry, vinegar? Industrial? Okay, if you say so, here. Banani, great. Now we pour it into the crater. Then we add a bit of baking soda. A beat of silence. Then a violent reaction. Foamy lava bubbles up and a reddish jet shoots into the air, splattering the walls, curtains, and ceiling. Henry, that scared me. Banani, it works. Boom! Another burst of foamy lava explodes. Henry, look, Banani, the volcano messed up the whole living room. Mom from the other room, Banani, what are you doing? What was that explosion I just heard? Henry, oops, I just remembered I've got homework to do. Henry bolts out. Mom enters wearing a floral apron with hand-sewn flowers and holding a jar of dark brown liquid. Mom, oh no, here we go again. She sniffs the air, coughs slightly. Mom, bleach and industrial vinegar? Banani, it was for the science fair. I just overdid the power of it. Mom, I'll take care of it. I've just prepared a new cleaning solution. White vinegar, used coffee grounds, lavender essential oil, and fermented banana peel. She starts spraying the mix on the walls, scrubbing with a crocheted sponge. The smell becomes unbearable. Dad enters, tired, in an oil-stained jumpsuit. Dad, sniffing. What's that stench? Banani, guiltily. Dad, it's for the fair. I just kind of exploded the living room. Dad, oh, Banani, there's no peace in this house. Banani, sorry, Dad. Dad, it's fine, I'll grab my tools. 10 minutes later, Dad returns with his trusty toolbox and a shiny steam gun. He's wearing work goggles. Dad, flexible spatula for the walls, steam for the curtains, and voila, clean in under an hour. Mom, meanwhile, I'll make some cucumber ice cream with cinnamon. I've got some recycled ice in the freezer. Banani, looking at the half-melted volcano. Dad, can I build a submarine next year? Dad, only if you test it in your mother's bathtub. Mom, from afar. Never again. End of flashback. Igor. So, according to Banani's mom, you can clean up bleach and industrial vinegar with banana peel bits. Yep, that's the Banani family. Totally bananas. But now, let's talk about this recycled ice thing. Sorry, but I'm a little confused. I mean, to make normal ice, You freeze water, ideally clean water. So what's the process for recycled ice? Like, instead of throwing water away, you reuse it? Say a guest only drinks half a glass of ice water, the rest melts. So Banani's mom used that water to make more ice? Or worse, imagine the water used to wash dishes. Instead of pouring it down the drain, she had a bucket to collect it for future ice? You know what? Maybe it's best not to dig any deeper. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Fagioli and the submarines. Back in Fagioli's office. Fagioli. Cold, inquisitive. So, a submarine, huh? Banani. Cautious. It was just for the science fair. Fagioli, interrupting, whispering. Just for the fair. Classic misdirection tactic. You know, back in my years in the secret underwater agricultural division, we could smell guys like you from miles away, always using the science fair as an excuse. He stands, circling Banani with his hands behind his back. Fagioli. Question. Why a submarine? Why not a kite or a garden bench? What was down there, Banani? What were you hoping to find? Banani, confused. I don't know. I just like the idea of going underwater. Fagioli, slamming his hand on the table. Underwater, exactly. He widens his eyes. Fagioli, everyone wants to go underwater, Banani, but few ask themselves, what if I find myself down there? Or worse, my father. A long pause. Fagioli sits down again, writes something on a blank sheet, and stares at it for a moment. Fagioli, calm. I'm adding this to your file. Pathological aquatic interest. Tendency to hide emotions in the deep. Banani. Buddy Fagioli, raising a finger. Shh. No, but I. Anyone who builds submarines at home has no right to justify themselves. Only to reflect. He closes the file, which is still empty. Igor. Now explain this to me, Professor. How exactly does going underwater in a submarine help me find myself? Or my father? I mean, my father maybe. If he happened to be on board the Titanic, sure, I might find him. But myself? Wait, I got it. Let's say someone was working on a cruise ship and dropped a mirror overboard. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Rapid erosion. Meanwhile, in the waiting room, Papaia and Ravioli are talking about a book Banani found on the geological evidence of Noah's flood. Papaia. We said the book gives 4 examples. What's the first? Ravioli. The layers beneath the Papaia sandstone were rapidly eroded and then broadly scraped flat. Papaia. First rapidly eroded and then flattened? 2 distinct processes. Ravioli. Yep. And we know this erosion happened on a large scale because we can see its effects from one end of the Grand Canyon to the other. Papaia. So, not a local phenomenon? Ravioli. Exactly. This massive erosion affected many different underlying rock layers, granites and metamorphic rocks, and tilted sedimentary layers. Papaia. But how do we prove it was large-scale erosion? Ravioli. There are 2 pieces of evidence that this large-scale erosion was rapid. First, we see no signs of weathering beneath the boundary. It's Papaia. If there had been weathering, we'd expect to find soil layers. Ravioli. But there aren't any. Papaia. Second, we find boulders and formations known as storm beds in the Tapate sandstone above the boundary. Ravioli. It says here that storm beds are sand layers with unique internal features produced only by storms, like hurricanes. He points at a paragraph. Papaia. Boulders and storm beds don't deposit slowly. Igor. Did someone say storm? Like the one that's about to hit. When your evaluation lands on the boss's desk. How funny. SavedBlog.com. Did you enjoy this story? You can find many more on our website, SavedBlog.com. The link is available in our bio. Consider supporting us by leaving a like, a comment, and subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching.